Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So I often talk about how great it is to have a wire stripper, and I do use it all the time. However, one of its drawbacks is that it does not cut all of my single strand copper wire. There are a lot of copper wires that I find not only on construction job sites, but also when I scrap. And unfortunately, the cutting deck and cutting blade does not go low enough down to strip the coating, which makes this useless. So what I've actually done today is I've made a small little wire stripper of my own. Took me only about a minute and a half to do. I did purchase a box of X-Acto knife blades. The rest of this is materials that I found on scrap day, the piece of wood. These little clamps you see here, I do find these often. These are your little clamps that electricians use to actually secure the wire through the house. I have boxes of these that I have found, and I do actually use them in other jobs around the house. So this one, very simple, has the blade there, 2 holes that I have, and all I'm gonna do is just feed the wire through to see if this blade will remove the coating. This screw I'm going to use on a different experiment with a different style in a couple minutes. But a few of the wires that I often find on garbage day or on job sites is, for example, your LVT wire. This is your brown coated wire that connects to your furnace. Some of it you can see does have 5 strands of copper inside. There are smaller ones like this that have 2 strands of copper or 3. And that is something I often find on job sites. On garbage day, I often find large rectangular, those tubular ceiling lights. These are the connectors, obviously the tubular bulbs. But the wire that comes through these is an excellent source of scrap copper as well. And unfortunately, these two do not get stripped from my wire stripper. So I'm gonna try and strip this wire to see if I can upgrade it. Beautiful wire that you can see right there. And I do want to mention with this type of wire, regardless of how shiny it looks, because all of this wire falls under 16 gauge, which is about the thickness of the lead of a pencil. This is the highest going to be #1 copper. And currently that still is a high price. It's going for about $4.65 a pound in London, Ontario. So an excellent price. I have actually seen it in the not so recent past up to about $5 Canadian. So excellent copper. It continues to be our scrapper's gold. And regardless, you want to get that copper. So going to see if this experiment works. And I do want to mention with my LVT wire, at least the wire stripper does remove the outer coating. So for this experiment, I'm not taking the outer coating off. You can see right here. That is what comes out of it. It has been just from doing that, removing the outer coating. I have upgraded this wire from 40% appliance wire to 60%. So currently, as is unstripped like this, or it's actually when it was with the coating, it would be about $1.25 a pound Canadian. This right now is going for about $2.45 a pound Canadian. And again, as I said, #1 copper, $4.60 a pound. So let's see if this works. Just going to put it into my vise like this. I'm sure there are going to be things that I do need to change on this. Would love the feedback from the community, but going to take a strand here of my LVT wire. I do have to unravel it, unfortunately, because it does come raveled up. So again, just taking a piece, going to feed it through the hole there. Okay, feed it through the back. Grab it with both hands, and I'm just going to slide it across the blade. You can see that it is coming off, that wire, or the coating is coming off. Look at that, just like butter. Okay, and it did remove on some places most of the coating. I may have to do another pass, but it could also just slide down. As you can see, I just take it, slide it. Okay, so it does work for sure. But again, I could always just put this back through. Very simple. Okay, even though I don't need to. But let the wire blade do the work. So look at that. Nice piece of copper. So that does work. So that was the LVT wire. Gonna grab a piece from my light bulb connector. Where is it? My wire. Here it is. This is some higher gauge stuff. A little bit higher. I'm trying to think where I just put it. Where is, oh, sorry, there it is on the ground. So there's a piece right there. I'm just gonna cut this piece off. Okay, don't forget with these, whenever you have these connectors here that go to the bulbs, look at the brass inside of that, so make sure you hit that plastic off. That yellow brass is going for $3 a pound, okay? But here we go, just gonna feed it through again. There we go, slide it across, and it does work. It did take a coating off, but unfortunately, because this is a little bit thicker, I may have to do another pass. The other nice thing is I can just rock it back and forth. You can see, just do that. Okay, there's the nice coating again that slides off. It does make a difference. Look at that. There's the copper right there. And I just got to peel it off. There we go. So just grab that copper wire. Okay, and again, I could have done another pass at it. Maybe I will. Let's just see. Just make it easier. Okay, there it is. So more copper. That does work. Look at that. Okay, so some really nice copper wire that you see there. Again, going to add that to the pile. Okay, and it does slide off once you start taking it off. Okay, but some nice copper there. The last experiment I want to try is actually using the screw here and a knife. And I'm going to say, again, I can find anything and everything on scrap day. This is actually a knife that I found on garbage day. It did come with a sheet, and it's a Betty Crocker. I do have tons of knives in the house, so I don't have to use this in the house, but want to see if I can actually more effectively just use my knife. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the vise. Going to connect some wires. So again, I'm going to use some thicker stuff here. Okay, so I'm going to use a piece of that light that came through. So unpop that cork. Okay, got a piece of LVT, and all I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to feed it through the hole just to tie it, because I don't want it coming off. Okay, so there it is, it's underneath. Okay, so I just got it connected a little bit. Okay, and I'm just gonna pull it tight like that, and I'm just gonna use my knife, okay, to see if I can actually just hold this and slice down. So let's see how it works here. Look at that. Hopefully you can see that. I'm just actually slicing. Wow. Look at that. So that worked way better. So I just, again, free knife. Look at that. Just removed that in a matter of, what, 2 seconds? Okay, so now just unconnect it. But look at that. Beautiful. Just using a knife. Now I am curious. I want to try a thicker gauge. I do have a piece of Romex, and again, this stuff will fit through the wire stripper, but I want to actually see if this is going to work with a knife. So here we go. Going to use the knife, slide it across. Got to get my angle. Look at that. It does work. Look at that. Just got to get the angle right. Slides right across like butter. So don't even have to buy a wire stripper for these parts. Look at that. So this stuff, I will say, is actually thicker than 16 gauge. So this is actually going to be classified as number 1 copper. Okay, but as you can see, just using a knife, it does work. So both of these work. Okay, and I'm actually now looking at it. It did not take me a lot of time. Again, I found the knife, but I guess if you bought the knife, you would be out a little bit of money, but it did work. And again, this right here, because it is thicker than 16 gauge, This is actually going to be classified as Bear Bright, going for $4.85 a pound. Okay, both of these do work. Again, I do want to make sure that I do a little bit of change with this, but again, I have bags of LTV wire, very simple to strip, very easy to upgrade into copper. This is obviously something that I can actually do even in the winter time when I have a little bit of downtime, but maximizing my profit with that copper. One of the drawbacks as well that I will say about this, I have tried it with multi-strand copper wire. I don't like using this method because when I start cutting through the coating, I do cut some of the copper wires, and it's usually because there are a huge amount of single-stranded copper wire together, so they do start poking out and get cut or frayed, and it does have some sharp edges. But because this is single strand, I'm not worried about that. Again, some great wire. I am going to try several different types of wire strippers, but again, these both do work. The knife worked a lot better, but this does as well work. So again, short video, but another alternative if you are not willing to buy a wire stripper. Again, in my other video, I mentioned it does depend on the type of wire you have, and you know, there are definitely cheaper options than the $199 for this one. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of perspective on different styles, easy to make, do it yourself. Please again, comment down below to see how I can improve this. There are definitely some engineers out there that are watching or other types of wire stripper or scrappers that have rigged up things like this. So again, comment down below. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tin Man out.